Take your holiday green bean casserole from bland to brilliant with Hatfield Classic Cut Bacon. Start with your traditional casserole recipe. Then add a generous layer of crispy chopped Hatfield bacon on top. The rich, smoky flavor takes this holiday classic from side dish to showstopper. Your guests will savor the upgrade and return for seconds and even thirds. More holiday recipe inspiration awaits at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork, better holidays.
Welcome to Trip Tales, the podcast where real people share their real trip stories, giving you destination, inspiration, and practical planning tips. Consider this a mini vacation in the middle of your day. I'm your host, Kelsey Graves. Let's go somewhere amazing. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trip Tales. We just returned from a magical, big family trip to Orlando with my family of 5, my sister's family of 4, and my parents, where we stayed in a house at Evermore Resort and had 4 park days, including Epic Universe, Universal Studios Orlando and Islands of Adventure, Magic Kingdom, where we also attended our very first Mickey's Christmas party, and Epcot. I have so much to report back on, so I'm going to split this trip recap into 2 parts. Part 1 today is going to be an Evermore Resort overview, Epic Universe, and Universal Studios Orlando and Islands of Adventure. And then part 2 will include our resort day at Evermore on Thanksgiving Day, Magic Kingdom, Mickey's Christmas Party, and Epcot. I will be going over all the things: our lightning lane strategy, express passes, navigating Disney with a large group, favorite food moments, best rides, and more. Before we get into the details, I have to give my Disney planner a shout out. Courtney Gibson, who is Pixie Travel by Courtney on Instagram. We could not have done this trip without her. I think a lot of you guys know that Disney and Universal planners are free to use. I know it feels too good to be true, but it is true. And these planners live and breathe Disney. They know every detail. They know every room type. They know every resort. They know the ticket types you need. They know the lightning lane strategies. They know the best restaurants for your group. But I will say, not all Disney planners are created equal. Just like any job, not all interior designers are created equal. Courtney Gibson was referred to me by a podcast guest and listener. I had her on the show, and I loved how thorough she was and how detail-oriented she was. I used her for this trip, and I am here to tell you, she leaves no stone unturned. She covers off on every detail. She sends you all the information you need. She has a custom itinerary platform where you can check in each morning before you start your day and get a rundown of what you're doing. This trip would not have gone as smoothly as it did without Courtney Gibson. So I want you guys to follow her on Instagram. Again, it's Pixie Travel by Courtney on Instagram. I will put her information in the show notes. So if you need a quote on a Disney or a Universal trip, she can help you. And I'm telling you, it feels too good to be true. She's free. When I started using her, she said, Kelsey, I know you love to plan trips, so I can do as little or as much as you would like. And I was like, Courtney, do it all. Because Disney and Universal is one of those things where if you don't keep up with it, it is just too much to figure out. I can plan a trip. I could probably plan a trip to Paris tonight if I wanted to. But Disney and Universal is so tricky. It's always changing. There's so many nuances. And so let the Disney planners do it for you. Okay, let's start with why we booked this trip. My sister and I were already planning on spending Thanksgiving with my parents. A lot of times we head down to Marco Island, Florida, where they have a place and have a lovely beachy Thanksgiving down there, which is such a dream. This year, my dad had a big work win and wanted to celebrate with the family, specifically with the grandkids. After a little bit of chatting about what we could do, we realized that the youngest cousin, my sister's daughter, Ivy, who's 4 years old, had never been to Disney World. And we thought, what an iconic celebration trip to do it big. Do lots of parks. Stay down in Orlando for a week. Show Ivy Magic Kingdom and Cinderella's Castle and ride Dumbo and all the things that our other kids have done, but we really needed the last grandkid to have her shot at. So we got busy planning. Like I said, I planned most of the trip via Courtney Gibson, our Disney planner. She helped me and held my hand through all of this, and it was a lot of planning, which is why I want to give some of the details here today, if it can help you in planning a future Orlando trip. At the very beginning of this, my mom suggested that we look at Evermore Resort. Most of you have probably heard of Evermore, but if you haven't, it is a large neighborhood-style resort in Orlando. So picture beach homes, kind of like 30A with these, but they're bigger. These are bigger beach homes. The smallest one, I think, is 4 or 5 bedrooms, and they go all the way up to 12 bedrooms. These are massive homes meant for big groups of people. But I think my mom, in thinking ahead, was thinking, we're going to be down there for an entire week. We're going to be there over Thanksgiving. We'll want room to spread out and hang out at night as a group. And sometimes on those Disney property resorts, you're all in hotel rooms. Now, I know there are other options. I know there are some villas and whatnot, but these Evermore houses are definitely going to be bigger than trying to stay on property. However, there were some pros and cons for staying off property, which I will get into as we go through these episodes. Evermore is popular, and by the time we started looking into it, which was probably 4 to 6 months in advance of our trip, the 5-bedroom homes, which is their smallest homes, were already sold out. And that would have fit us perfectly. That's what we needed, but they were sold out. So the next option was a 7-bedroom house, which we did not need that much space, but they were running an early bird special. They often run specials, so check their website. You can get as much as like 30% off during these different sales. And so they were running an early bird promotion. We were able to book a 7-bedroom house for what the price would have been for a 5-bedroom house at the regular rate. Courtney Gibson, the Disney planner, helped us book this. She reached out to the resort. She got the best deal for us, but we were not staying on Disney property. This is a separate resort that's about 10 to 15 minutes from the Disney parks and 20 to 25 minutes from the Universal parks. We were thrilled with our choice, and I will get more into it later. Another fun component of this trip was that since my parents do have a place in Marco Island, Florida, they were able to apply for Florida resident discount tickets. I know this definitely wouldn't apply to everybody, but just in case this is an option for you, Florida residents do get discounts on passes. Again, Courtney knows all the details and can help you with every little thing about it. But my parents were able to purchase their tickets and their grandkids' tickets at a discounted rate. What's funny is they don't allow the Florida residents to purchase tickets for people over 18 years old, which I think is kind of funny. It's like they can't buy tickets for their own kids, but for their grandkids. I feel like Florida's a little bit like, hey, y'all grown kids, you should be able to buy your own Disney tickets at this point. But Florida resident pricing did come into play, which was really nice. So we all arrived on the Sunday before Thanksgiving. This was a little bit of a planes, trains, and automobiles type of trip, which seems to be kind of common when I listen back to my trip recaps. But my girls and I were already in Orlando for a dance convention. That worked out great because we had been in Orlando all weekend and we were ready to just get in an Uber and transfer from our dance convention hotel over to the Evermore house. My parents drove up from Marco Island, Florida, where they had been. My husband and son were coming from Atlanta because they were in a soccer tournament in Atlanta. So they flew from Atlanta. And then my sister's family lives all the way in Boise, Idaho, which is basically trying to fly to Europe. There's no direct flights. They had to transfer through Denver, I believe, or maybe Salt Lake. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. And they made it in as well. So everybody made it in on Sunday evening. My parents did actually head to Orlando Saturday, the day before a trip. They love to get a beach house prepped, get to a location before everybody, have all the things in order, which I so appreciate about them. And I probably have a little bit of that in me as well, thanks to them. But they drove up Saturday, and on Evermore's property, which has all these beach houses and also condo style units you can stay in, There's also a Conrad hotel on the property. So if you have Hilton points, bonus, there's a Conrad there. My parents went ahead and stayed the night there so that they would be on property the next day, ready to check into our house as soon as it was ready. With their free time, as they drove up early, they headed over to Disney Springs because they decided they didn't want to invest in magic bands because they rarely go to Disney. They only go with us. And with this being such a big family trip and the ages of the kids, there's a good chance a lot of us won't be back to doing like a big Disney trip ever or for a long time. So they were like, we don't need Disney bands. A lot of us already had them and were able to just reuse them. And our planner told us that you don't have to have a Disney band. The Disney bands are kind of annoying because they've gotten fancy. They light up. They're more substantial than they used to be. They used to send them to you in a box with your park tickets. Do you remember that? You'd like book a Disney trip and you'd get this magical box in the mail and all the Disney bands would be in there and it would be like, hooray, we're going. I really enjoyed that. They don't do that anymore. I actually remember reaching out like a month in advance to Courtney, the Disney planner, being like, wait, are they going to send those bands? And she's like, oh, they don't do that anymore. Now there's Magic Band Pluses, which are like $40 a pop. So for a family of 5, that's really expensive. We had the old Magic Bands that don't light up and aren't fancy, and they were still all working. You can check on the Disney app if they're like still functioning. And ours were. So I was like, sorry, kids, you are just going to have the old school bands that you picked out like 4 years ago, and we're just going to roll with it. But if you don't want to buy Disney bands, all you have to do, you can do this in Disney Springs and you can do this in different locations throughout Disney World. You just have to go and show your ticket confirmation and they will give you a key card, kind of like a hotel key card, a plastic key card that you can put in a lanyard, put in your wallet, and you can scan that thing all day long, just like a Magic Band. You can scan it to get into a lightning lane. You can scan it to get into the park. So that actually was easier than I expected. I thought, oh, they probably should have Magic Bands. No, didn't matter at all. So you can go the Magic Band route or you can go this key card route. You can also use your phone, but I like manage everybody's Disney stuff on my Disney account with my app. And I felt like it would be too hard to be like scan, swipe, scan, swipe. So everybody needed to have their own thing to scan in with, whether it was a Magic Band or a card. So they went to Disney Springs, they got their cards, and that was great. And then my mom and dad picked up some fun Disney treats, which I thought was like a nice touch. They found some Mickey-shaped Rice Krispie treats covered in chocolate and some Mickey-shaped cookies. And so when our Evermore house was ready, which I believe was around 2 p.m., maybe a bit earlier, they were able to go into the house, check it out, put out all the Disney treats, which was really exciting as the rest of us started showing up. My girls and I got there first, so we Ubered over from our dance hotel, and our first impressions were just like, wow. First of all, it's a gated community. You have to get through this gate every time. Even as an Uber, they have you roll down your window. They ask you your name, your reservation number. Like, they are very careful about who's going in and out of that property, which is kind of nice. And as you drive in, it looks like a beautiful Florida neighborhood. There's a massive golf course. There are beautiful homes lining the streets, palm trees lining the streets, sidewalks leading to the pools and a lagoon. It's just a beautiful, spread out neighborhood. We got to our house and we entered through the back, which means we immediately saw the pool. Every single Evermore house comes with a private heated pool. It had a little water feature trickling into it. And then we opened the doors and my mom was like, I don't know if there's going to be enough space for all of us, which was a total joke because I've never seen a bigger dining table in my entire life. I've never seen a bigger sectional in my entire life. But what was so amazing about it was like when you have a big group of people, you can kind of get in each other's way. Excuse me. Especially in like a cabin in the Smoky Mountains or this was not that. This is like people could lay out on the sectional and there was still room for everybody to find a spot. When we ate big meals, you could spread out. You weren't shoulder to shoulder with everybody. You had so much room to spread out, which was so wonderful. Then we got to exploring the house and picking bedrooms. Another amazing thing about Evermore homes is that every single room is basically like a king or double queen suite with an ensuite bathroom. So almost all the rooms are the same. You really can't go wrong on any level. You've got like a king bed and a giant bathroom with 2 sinks, a walk-in shower. Some have tubs. It just kind of made like the picking the room scenario. It's like, who cares? We can all just be wherever. All these rooms are amazing. Our house did have one room with 2 queen beds. It was actually really cute because most of the rooms were pretty standard, like white walls, light blue tile for the bathroom, just like beach chic. And then one room upstairs had 2 queen beds with like pink velvet headboards and a pink tiled bathroom. And it was like perfect because we had 2 8-year-old cousins coming who are like besties, 2 girl cousins. And we were all like, that's obviously going to be their room. We also were able to check out the hangout spaces. So on level 1, we had all the eating area, the massive kitchen, and 2 kind of master suites. On the next level, we had 3 more master suites and this bedroom with the 2 queen beds, also a hangout area with a ping pong table that we used quite a bit, another medium-sized sectional with a TV, and then you went up another set of stairs and there was another hangout room with one of those video game machines like that has 40 games on it, but like Pac-Man and all those things, another TV, and 2 separate bunk rooms. And these are the beautiful bunk rooms that have like double over a queen or something, like queen beds on the bottom, a double or a twin on the top, a staircase, a built-in staircase going up, all the individual charging stations, all the individual lights, ensuite bathrooms for each of those with like 3 separate pedestal sinks. So, I mean, you could easily sleep. I think the house said it slept 22 or 23 people, and you would comfortably sleep 22 people. So again, we didn't need that much space, but it was like the only option when we went to book. So it was really funny. Like my son had the whole upstairs. He was like, I'm going to change my bunk bed every single night and like play musical chairs with the bunk beds. The youngest 4-year-old, she doesn't do so well with like a sleepover situation yet because it's just too exciting. So she had one of the king suites all to herself. We were like Princess and the Pea. Ivy goes to the Plaza Hotel. What's that book? Eloise at the Plaza. She was just like spread out in this king bed and it was hilarious. And then all the adults got their own master suites. It was lovely. No complaints. Highly recommend looking into the houses at Evermore Resort, especially for a big group.
Are you ready to finally make that dream a reality? Maybe it's updating your kitchen, paying down high-interest credit cards, or covering tuition. Your home is more than where you live. It's also your most powerful asset. At Unlock, we make it simple to turn equity into options. With a home equity agreement, you can access cash today without taking on monthly payments. Imagine the freedom to invest in your home, reduce financial stress, or finally start that big project you've been putting off. It's your home. It's your future. Unlock it today. Visit unlock.com to learn more about a home equity agreement. That's unlock.com to learn more.
Terms and conditions apply. Not all homeowners will qualify. Not available in all states. Actor Portrayal. Home equity agreements are offered by Unlock Home Equity Solutions, Inc. In certain states, NMLS number 2657081. Visit www.consumeraccess.org for more info.
You know me, I always love an Instacart order. And my trick is, I've said it a million times, but I build the cart at home before the trip. You can go onto instacart.com. You can put in the address you will be at. So I think at that time I could just put Evermore Resort because I didn't know the actual address of the house. All these homes have individual addresses. So when you go to do like an Instacart type order, you're actually putting in, we were like at 1047 Gaggle Court, like a actual address. But as long as you put in the general location, like Evermore Resort, it knows which groceries to pull from. So Publix is the closest grocery. It pulled up and I built the whole cart at home in the calm, when I'm not chaotic on my phone, rushing around, and got all the breakfast things, all the cereals, all the milk, eggs and bacon for one morning. We got bagels and cream cheese and snacks, goldfish packs for park days, a huge thing of water bottles, which I always like to do in Florida, where you can grab a couple on the go, throw them in a backpack, have them throughout the day. We got treats and microwave popcorn to make at night and sodas for the kids. Like we had that whole grocery order set before we were even in Florida. And then what makes that easy is once my parents got in at 2 and once we were wrapping up at our dance convention and getting our Uber over, I'm able to just go on the Instacart app on my phone, press start shopping, and within an hour or two, we have all our groceries and I didn't have to stress about building that list. Some other fun things about the house really quick. There was a hammock out back by the pool. There was also some games out there. So they had bags and a massive Jenga, you know, the massive Jengas that are everywhere, but every block said Evermore on them. So it was just like a pretty aesthetic Jenga set, which actually the kids used. Our kids played bags. Our kids messed with those Jenga blocks every single day, whether they were playing the game or like building towers with them. And then there are pool chairs and tons of towels. I want to say there were 22 like beach type towels rolled up in the house, along with all the bath towels you could need. Every shower had the 3 toiletries that you could pump: shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. And they were all lovely, huge bottles. So that was nice because it's a rental house. It's not a hotel, but they still had all of those amenities, hair dryers, all the things. They kind of treat it like a hotel, even though it's a rental house, which was really nice because I'll get to this probably at the end of part 2. But for checkout, they send you an email that's like, we want this to be as easy as possible for you. All you have to do is leave. Whereas when you're in like a true vacation rental, they're like, strip all the beds, start the dishwasher, start the laundry, take the trash out. It's always like, oh my gosh, what is on our list? This was like, just go ahead and leave, which was awesome. You feel like you're at a hotel, even though you're in this massive house. So once everybody started arriving, night 1, we just kind of got our bearings. We walked from our house to the main central area of the resort. The central area of the resort has a restaurant, has a food hall, which is really nice, like kind of walk-up stations where you can just kind of all individually order what you'd like. A pool, a heated pool with a wide water slide that 4 people can go down at any given time, a hot tub, and the massive lagoon that you see on Instagram. I've shared tons of videos of this resort already on Instagram. I'm just my name, Kelsey_Graves. I have a highlight bubble about Evermore so you can see everything. The lagoon is beautiful. It's very like, you feel like you're not in Orlando. You kind of feel like you're at the beach, which is nice. It is cold though, because they're not going to heat a body of water that big. So there are things you can do. You can kayak, you can stand up paddleboard, you can do a rope swing into it, you can do a cliff jump into it, and you can play beachside. There's actually a sand beach with beach chairs and kids playing in the sand and a 0 entry into the lagoon. And our kids all played in it, no problem, but it is just a little chilly. So the first night we walked over to that area, they had a huge Christmas tree all lit up, which was so pretty. We were going to eat at the restaurant called Twin View, which is like a nice sit-down restaurant. I would say it's like a nicer vibe than a family-friendly vibe. I was picturing family-friendly, but it's like nice. And they did not have any reservations available. So if you would like to eat at that Twin View restaurant, do make reservations in advance. We just went below the restaurant into the food hall, which has walk-up windows like a burger spot, a pizza spot. And our favorite was called That's a Wrap. They had bowls, wraps, salads, and our entire group the first night ordered from that one walk-up window, which was kind of funny. So I got a chicken teriyaki bowl, which had rice, some vegetables, chicken, teriyaki sauce, a little bit of spicy mayo. My girls got grilled chicken Caesar salads. There were Mediterranean bowls, ahi tuna bowls, chicken Caesar wraps. So that is like a nice kind of fresh option. And then we headed back to the house to get situated and get a good night's sleep before our park days started. So just to give you a lay of the land, we had 4 park days. We all arrived on a Sunday. Here was our order. We were waking up and doing Epic Universe first. We wanted to try this brand new Universal Park, kick it off with a bang. So Epic Universe was going to be Monday. Tuesday, we were going to tag team both Universal Studios Orlando and Islands of Adventure. Wednesday, we were going straight into Magic Kingdom because that was a Mickey's Christmas party night and we wanted to do Mickey's Christmas party because we'd never done it before. Thursday was Thanksgiving. We finally had an off day, a resort day, chilled at the resort and had a lovely Thanksgiving meal at Evermore, which I will explain more about. And then Friday, we hit up Epcot. I feel like that's a great way to end a trip. It's not as intense of a park. You can get a lot done in one day. And their Christmas Festival of Foods started on Friday. So we were able to visit some of the food stands and get some yummy Christmas themed food and snacks. And then we all flew out on Sunday morning. So it was a fast and furious, and we did it all. We were at these parks from start to finish. I thought we'd come back and like swim in the afternoons, which we kind of did. But for the most part, we were just park people, which is not really our style. But once you're there, it's kind of hard to leave when you're go, go, go. Another thing I'll mention is because this was a celebration trip that my dad was facilitating, my parents were all about getting express passes because they didn't want their grandchildren and themselves waiting in 90-minute lines. We're all the way there. We're there as a group. If we can get through these rides and these lines in 20 minutes, we can get a lot more done in a park than waiting all day. And I know that this is not always realistic. The price of these is so insane. It's just kind of like a small fortune to try to go on one of these trips. But we did have express passes for both of our Universal days. Magic Kingdom, we did not have them for, because here is the con of staying off property. The nicest pass right now, aside from a VIP tour, is called a Premier Pass at Disney World. So at Universal, you have Express Pass. At Disney World, you have Premier Pass. Both of them operate the same, where you get to go on every ride that has a lightning lane once per person. So it's not like you can go on your most favorite ride 3 times in a row in the Express lane. Once you use it, it's done. Universal, you can buy express passes months in advance. We had that done, signed, sealed, delivered. We were golden for this trip. Disney World, on-property guests can buy them 7 days out. Off-property guests can buy them 3 days out, and they do sell out, which is so surprising to me. So we were like crossing our fingers and toes that we could get them, but the Magic Kingdom ones sold out and didn't matter. We couldn't buy them. We were able to get them for our Epcot day. So just one day, Magic Kingdom, we did not have the fancy pass. We did the next tier down, which is called a multi-lane pass, which means at any given time you have 3 lightning lanes going. This is kind of how it used to be with the whole Genie Plus thing. But the nice thing that they've changed is that you can pre-select these. So instead of I remember the last time I went to Disney, it was I had to either stay up till midnight or wake up at 7 a.m. and I'm always fiddling with my phone and trying to get the next lightning lane. Now you can pick them in advance. And my planner, Courtney, helped me with this. She's like, here's what I'd recommend and why. And she booked them for me. She booked these lightning lanes for me. So for Magic Kingdom, we just had the 3 at any given time. And then once you use one and scan in, you can pick another one. But it is so annoying with a big group because you're fiddling with your phone. I was doing it for everybody, which it is nice. I can sync my account to everybody's so I could handle the lightning lanes for the whole group. But you're trying to pick it and then you okay, we got Pirates of the Caribbean. And then by the time you click go, it's oh, it's no longer available. So then I'm okay, now going back into the app, trying to figure it out. It definitely wasn't fun fiddling with it the whole time, but that was our Express Pass lightning lane situation.
Take your holiday green bean casserole from bland to brilliant with Hatfield Classic Cut Bacon. Start with your traditional casserole recipe. Then add a generous layer of crispy chopped Hatfield bacon on top. The rich, smoky flavor takes this holiday classic from side dish to showstopper. Your guests will savor the upgrade and return for seconds and even thirds. More holiday recipe inspiration awaits at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork, better holidays.
Monday, we wake up for our first full day and we are going to Epic Universe. This park just opened within the last year. It is Universal's newest park in Orlando. It is not next to the other 2 parks. It is about 10 to 15 minutes away from the original Universal park. So do not go to the old parks. You have to map yourself to Epic Universe. Epic Universe doesn't open till 10 a.m., which is pretty awesome because we did not want to be rushing. We did not want to be rope dropping. We were we want people to sleep. We want people to be well-fueled before a big day. So we are not rushing over there. Also, it helps when you have express passes. You don't have to rush because you know you're probably going to get through everything. So everybody woke up, had a breakfast. It was pretty simple, cereal and bagels and all the things. Got dressed in our Universal gear. We all had lanyards that Courtney had sent us. We had park tickets, actual paper park tickets for Universal that you put in the lanyards that you scan. They kind of scan it with a QR code laser gun thing. And we were off. We did just take Ubers everywhere for this trip. Evermore does not have park transportation anymore. I'm unclear if the Conrad does. The Conrad might, but Evermore as its own resort does not have park transportation. I find Ubering, even when I'm on property in Disney, to work really well because it's not that expensive. They used to drop you right at the park entrance. Now all the parks have this whole rideshare situation where you're like pulling into a parking garage. And I mean, it was all very seamless, but it's a little different now. You're kind of a ways away when you get dropped off. You still kind of have to hike to the park. But anyways, we got Ubers. Between Lyft and Uber, we were always ordering the XLs, or now in Lyft and Uber, there's an XXL, which my family kind of needs a lot because it means it will seat 5 or 6 plus luggage room. So it's like a Yukon XL or a Suburban. But so we would need multiple of those to get all 11 of us over to the park. So Ubered over to Epic. We get in. Epic Universe is 5 lands. And picture it kind of like a wagon wheel. So in the center is Celestial Park, which is kind of the core of the park. It's very celestial feeling. There's a beautiful new age celestial starry carousel. That's where the popular Stardust Racers coaster is. And then picture the wagon wheel spokes going out to each other park. So you're kind of always going back to the center and then like walking around and going back out into another land. There is Ministry of Magic, which is got some Harry Potter stuff in it. There's Isle of Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon land. There is Super Mario Land, which is so cute and just total eye candy. And then there's Dark Universe, which is like the villains of Universal. So Frankenstein, Dracula, mummies, all that kind of stuff. One thing that surprised me about Epic Universe is in each of these 5 lands that I just listed, there's really only one major attraction. There's like one big ride that everyone's wanting to do and stand in line for and get done. And then there might be 1 or 2 other things like a cute restaurant or a smaller ride. Obviously, the theming is amazing. But if you're going here just for rides, I would say you want to go here for the overall experience of the themed lands. Spend some time in the themed lands. Get a fun themed snack. I feel like when we had our Islands of Adventure day the next day, that's where it's like ride after ride after ride, coaster after coaster, just like all the rides you could think of. Whereas Epic Universe, I mean, it's epic. It's beautiful. And there's just not as much that you have to accomplish in a day, which is kind of nice. I do feel like you can do Epic Universe in one day, whether you have an express pass or not. So just keep that in mind. We started in the Ministry of Magic, which looks like you're in Paris. It is so well done. It is so beautiful. I guess the Quidditch finals in the book, in the Harry Potter book and movies, are maybe in Paris. There's also something about Fantastic Beasts, an old Universal movie that takes place in Paris. I Googled it a couple times. I'm still kind of unclear on like the connection point between Harry Potter and Paris, but I kind of don't care because it was adorable. So beautiful walking in. There's a Parisian cafe called Les Sirènes, Sirene, maybe. We didn't get to eat there, but I've heard about it. It looked amazing. And the people eating their fancy Parisian food there, it looked incredible. I would highly recommend checking that out if you have a smaller group. We went straight to the first ride, which is Harry Potter Battle at the Ministry. Almost everybody went on this. I think we actually even took the 4-year-old on this. I can't remember. Yeah, because we kind of started strong. And some of these rides are intense at Universal for little kids. So I would say the Battle at the Ministry ride is probably for like 7 or 8 plus. Our 8-year-olds liked it, but they were also kind of freaking out. But it's one of those rides where you have a screen in front of you, but you are moving a ton. And so it feels like you're falling and moving and having jump scares and all that kind of stuff, but it's basically a screen. It was really good though. We had fun. Great way to kick it off. Then after that, we stopped in the candy shop, which is bright pink and so Parisian and so adorable. They had macaron cookies with like designs on all of them. And my oldest loved loves those. So you could pick like 6 to a box. She picked some of those. They had all the chocolate frogs, which are famous in the Harry Potter books. So we spent some time in the chocolate shop. And then my 8-year-old Elle picked out a wand. We weren't sure if we were going to do the wand thing. Last time we were in Universal, we got one of the fake wands, which all the wand shops sell the interactive wands, which control the window scenes, and you can cast spells and make things happen and make rain come down and make sewing scissors cut and all this cool stuff. But there's also always a $30 or $35 wand behind the counter that just lights up on the end. That is great for 4 and 5-year-olds and under. They don't know that it doesn't work. It actually is kind of cool because the end lights up, so it's doing more for them, but it doesn't have that interactive component. But anyways, the last time we went, we got one of those light up wands. So this time we were letting my 8-year-old pick one out. There is a wand shop in all the Harry Potter worlds. All 3 Harry Potter lands throughout Universal have wand shops you can go in. My daughter got a wand and her cousin started casting spells. It is a little tricky. A lot of like older kids will help you out in the parks, but basically you look down at the ground and there is a metallic plate that shows you how to move your wand. So it might like start as like you might be drawing a 4 in the air. And then you kind of have to point it towards, there's always like a black circle somewhere in the window and it's a camera. And you have to point it at that interactive camera and then I got both. I got feedback from multiple different people. Some said a smaller motion and some said a slow, bigger motion. But it takes a minute. It does feel like you're actually casting a spell because it's not just working for everybody. You really have to get it right and then the magic will happen. So we did some windows. And after that, we'd kind of done it all in Harry Potter world. There's like a little show we could have gone to, kind of like a circus type show, but I saw mixed reviews about it. So like I said, once we did the Battle at the Ministry ride, we were kind of done in Harry Potter world, which was kind of weird, but we had fun in the candy shop and doing the windows. Then we headed to Isle of Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon land. We're not even really into these movies. I'm not even sure any of us in my family of 5 has seen one from start to finish, but this land was gorgeous. This was probably the prettiest land. You definitely want to be here during the day because it's like surrounded by water. The water's like glistening. There's these amazing huge dragons and wooden boats, and it's really cool to see. We all went on a group ride here. It's called Hiccup's Wing Gliders, and this is a family coaster, but this is so fun and so thrilling and not just a cheesy kids coaster. It kind of reminds me of Slinky Dog in Hollywood Studios, but even more fun because it uses that blast off technology where it really blasts you off and you're going pretty bananas. Like I had so much fun. My kids had so much fun. My mom and sister don't love a coaster. They get motion sickness. It really, really affects them. And they were like, that was too much. So it's not just a kiddie ride. And even the 4-year-old did it. And she was a little like, whoa, when it stopped. And she looked at my sister and said, that was aggressive, which is true. It's fun, fast. I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but it is. I think at the end of the trip, all of us, that was still in our top as one of our favorite coasters. So Hiccup's Wing Gliders in Isle of Berk. You even see one of the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon in it, like a huge animatronic dragon that's like so sweet looking. So that's definitely a winner. We decided we weren't going to do Fire Drill, which is a water ride where it's basically like 2 boats, 2 big kind of like wooden tall ship boats, and they pass each other and there's people on both sides and you shoot water guns at each other. So you're like gonna get soaked. You're stuck in a seat with someone shooting a water gun at you. We did have ponchos for this trip, but we forgot to bring them. We forgot to bring them almost every day, which was kind of funny, but we skipped Fire Drill. And Dragon Racers Rally is like, it looks like a carnival ride where you're kind of like spinning, like kind of laying there and spinning. And it didn't have, that was the one ride in Epic that didn't have an express pass. So it was like 60 or 70 minute wait. And we just decided we weren't going to wait for it. But there are some other rides back there. We did decide to get lunch at this time. Since we didn't show up to the park till 10 or so, at this time it was like lunchtime. We went into Mead Hall. That's spelled MEAD Hall. This is in Isle of Berk. It's kind of like Viking themed. And the food is amazing. We just didn't know how the ordering worked. And so it probably took us 30 minutes to order food. So first of all, we stood in line, then we got a table. You do get to sit down, but then there's like just a QR code on your table to order. No server comes. And we were like, can we just order from a person? But if we had known in advance, we could have like all made sure we had the Universal app on our phones, been checking out the menu in line, which I'm sure a bunch of Universal experts know to do this, but we did not know to do this. So most of us didn't have the app. I had the app on my phone and I think my husband did, but everybody else didn't. It's like glitching out every time people are trying to use the QR code, like not knowing where to go. And then it's like we had to pass the phone around to 11 people to like enter this mobile order. To be honest, we were all like so hungry and frustrated and annoyed at this point that, all these park trips, they look perfect on Instagram, but there's definitely moments of frustration and people melting down. This was kind of one of them. Kids were hungry. It took us 30 minutes to order. Then you have to wait for the food to come out. But anyways, one funny moment is as we were just like waiting and bored and trying to get all these orders in, these two Vikings did come up to the kids and they were like so silly and so funny and the kids got a kick out of it. So that part was kind of fun. The food, once it finally came out, was delicious. We had salmon salads and salmon sandwiches. I got sausage and baked potato with roasted carrots, which sounds kind of aggressive for a theme park meal, but it was so good. Kind of like that kielbasa style sausage, a buttery mini baked potato, and 3 roasted carrots, which carrots tasted so amazing in the middle of like a park day. It felt like fuel. The kids got mac and cheese bites, and I think there was a burger on the menu. Anyways, the food was actually really good. Just know that go ahead and download the Universal app. Go ahead and look up the menu. You can even do your whole mobile order and submit it. And then once you sit down at your table, you put in your table number. We really could have done that better and we just didn't know at the time.
So you want to start a business. You might think you need a team of people and fancy tech skills, but you don't. You just need GoDaddy Aero. I'm Walton Goggins, and as an actor, I'm an expert in looking like I know what I'm doing, even when I don't. And I like the sound of starting my own business, Walton Goggins Goggle Glasses. But I'm an actor. I don't know what I'm doing. I needed help. GoDaddy Aero uses AI to create everything you need to grow a business. It'll make you a unique logo. It'll create a custom website. It'll write social posts for you and even set you up with a social media calendar. I didn't even realize I needed a social media calendar. GoDaddy Aero will take your idea that sounds good and make a business that looks like you know what you're doing. GoDaddy Aero can get your business up and running in minutes. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like a plan. Get started at GoDaddy.com/Aero. That's GoDaddy.com/AIRO.
After lunch, our group split up in Celestial Park. So again, Celestial Park is the center hub. This is where Stardust Racers, the roller coaster, is, and a super calming carousel. So the thrill seekers who wanted to go on this coaster got in the express lane for Stardust Racers, and the rest of the group, some of the littler kids, my mom and sister, went to the peaceful carousel. We need a moment for Stardust Racers. This roller coaster is so fun. I'm not like someone who has to go on a roller coaster. I'm not going out of my way if my kids aren't with me to go find a roller coaster, but I don't mind a good thrill. And if I'm all the way there, and if I have an express pass in my hand, you better believe I'm going to try this stuff out. This coaster, first of all, there's 2 sets of cars next to each other. So it's like you're racing each other, which is pretty wild because normally on a coaster, you're not used to seeing another car kind of in your peripheral. It's a little like, oh my gosh, are we going to hit those people? There's 2 different tracks, a yellow and a green. They're slightly different and everybody has varying opinions on which is better. I couldn't tell you which way I was going, upside down, right side up, twisting. I think they probably would feel the same to me, but it shoots you off so fast. I literally could not breathe. So you're flying at the speed of light and then you go up and you start slowing down as you slowly tip over this first drop. So it's kind of like you're blasting off and then it slows to the point where you can kind of see what you're getting yourself into. And it is like this massive drop and then you're just corkscrewing and you are going opposite of this other coaster car, like corkscrewing around each other. It was so bananas. I can't really explain other than I was like, couldn't breathe, couldn't catch my breath, was dying laughing, screaming my head off. I actually lost my voice for part of the trip, I think, from this ride, screaming my head off. I was riding next to my father who turns 70 next year. And he was such a trooper to go on all these rides. He's like, hey, I'm going to make this express pass that I paid for worth it. I couldn't see him because you know how you like pull the harnesses over your head and your head is back in the harness? Like you can't really reach your head out and see on a coaster the person next to you. I like reached out when we stopped and grabbed his knee and I was like, are you alive? Because we were both just dying laughing. We could not stop laughing at what we had just experienced. So if you can handle a coaster, and I mean the craziest coaster you have ever been on in your life, but if you can handle a crazy coaster, you have to go on it because it is just that fun and bananas. The older kids absolutely loved it. Even my sister's 8-year-old went on it. My daughter Elle did not and should not have. I never, ever would have asked her to go on it. But my sister's daughter, Nora, who's also 8, wanted to go on it. And she said she didn't like scream or breathe the whole time. She was just like, oh, like trying to survive. But it was pretty impressive that she went on it. Like I said, if you're not a thrill seeker, the carousel is super cool and modern looking because it doesn't crank from the top. It cranks from the bottom. And so you see at the top of each carousel animal, there is a big glowing globe. And so those are going up and down, these like glowing globes. The music's really peaceful. I think it's a great ride for anybody. Like everybody could experience it together. Or if you need to do like a split-see in Celestial Park, that's a good way to do it. Next, we headed to Super Mario Land, which if I had done it differently, I think I would have started in Super Mario Land. A lot of people recommend starting in Harry Potter because it gets really busy, but Super Mario also gets really busy and it's very small. It's total eye candy. The best part is that you go up the green tube, just like your Mario, like the boom, 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 and you're on an escalator. Everything's green and you kind of feel like you're going up a green tube. It's so cool. But once you get in it, it's almost like this big hole. Like you kind of enter on the top and you look down and there's a bunch of steps and different ways to get places, but it's all kind of in this one big like hole area is the only way I can explain it, where you can kind of see everything all at once and that's all it is. So there's people everywhere and it just felt very jam-packed. So I would consider starting in Super Mario or Harry Potter, but if I could do it again, I think I would start in Super Mario. The first ride we went on was Yoshi, which is a slow cart ride, almost like a people mover in Disney World or Little Mermaid. Like it's just, you're in a little Yoshi car and you're just going slowly on a track. And there's some I think the best part about it is it gives you the best view of Super Mario Land, which is so wild to see. Like the people who worked on this did a perfect job. You've got the mushrooms, slinging around. You've got turtle shells slinging around. You've got the coins spinning, like glistening in the sun. You've got the big, like one of those Venus flytrap things that they look like mushrooms, but they've got the mouths that are like coming down with their mouths opening and closing. The Yoshi ride there's not much to it, but it does give you some of the best views of the park. Get some cute pictures, some cute videos. And we wanted to do that with the 4-year-old so that she could like participate on a ride with us. Then we did Mario Kart, which was cute. You get these cute Mario hats. They're red hats, which are so fun. And then your 3D goggles clip to it once you get on the ride. The goggles are like on the ride and you magnetize them to your hat. The hat makes for a cute picture. I thought this ride would be better without the goggles because the goggles, they're not 3D goggles. They're like, it makes it look like you're in the video game. So there's all this stuff happening in front of your eyes that's like just on the screen. But if you take off the goggles and look up, there's like real stuff all around you, like a huge chandeliers are swinging. And there's a lot of real stuff that I think is cooler. It's kind of like how they switched Remy in Epcot. It used to be 3D and they changed it so you don't wear glasses. Sometimes I like seeing the real ride, and the 3D and the screens and the goggles kind of distract me. So I thought everybody was like, oh, there's Rainbow Road. It's so amazing. I thought it was okay. And I don't know why I didn't love it, but I think the goggle screens kind of like distracted me. And you're supposed to like press these buttons kind of like you're in a game. I don't love those rides like Buzz Lightyear where you're like trying to shoot things and earn points or whatever. So I thought this ride could have been so much better, especially with like Rainbow Road and like a race car feeling. It wasn't my favorite. I still think it's fun and worth it. Like it's such an iconic game and ride, but I was a little disappointed in that one. And then the last ride in Mario World is called Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. This could be a skip for me if I went back. It is so cute. It looks like you jump the tracks at one point. It is a coaster, but it's called Minecart Madness because it makes you feel like your minecart is going off the tracks. So it is one of the jerkiest rides I've ever been on, like on purpose. It's trying to be like funny and it's like, oh, this way, that way, this way. But like we all were like, ow, that was like too jerky. Again, it's so cute looking and the theming is really good, but it's just incredibly jerky. And I'm kind of like, if we have the technology to make coasters smooth now, let's not make them jerky. Like we don't have to have like a wooden coaster jerky feel anymore, but this one is like trying to mimic that. So there's that. At this point, the sun started to set and the lights in the park came on, and Epic Universe is even cooler at night. If I had just older kids with me in a bigger group, I would show up later, do like Isle of Berk and Super Mario in the daytime, and then do this other stuff in the nighttime because it is so cool at night. Celestial Park like comes to life. There's like fountains. Everything's lit up. The carousel's lit up. Stardust Racers, the coaster's lit up. Like it looks incredible at night. At this point, my mom and sister went back with the littles. They went back to the house. They changed into swimsuits. They swam at Evermore Resort. They went on the water slide. It was perfect for them to have a place to go back to. They were done with the park, but the rest of us wanted to stay and see Creepy Dark Universe in the evening. If you can do Dark Universe at night or as the sun is setting at dusk, it's really cool because, again, lights start coming on. There's fog machines everywhere. It feels a little creepy. It looked really cool going in. There's like old castles and it's just supposed to be themed after all the like old school villains. We went straight to Monsters Unchained, which a lot of people are saying is like one of the best rides in Epic Universe. I thought it was fine. Here is Monsters Unchained. I think that the bar was set way too high for me. I like couldn't follow the storyline. Sometimes I love a straightforward storyline, and some of these rides I'm like, wait, what's happening? So you like go into a room and there's like this animatronic robot girl that's like talking about how her uncle was maybe Dracula or maybe Frankenstein. I couldn't figure it out. There is a Frankenstein there, but it's kind of like Frankenstein and Dracula are mad at each other or something. And then they're just going to unchain all the monsters. And so then you go into the ride and you fasten in again. It's like an over the shoulder harness. And you're on one of those rides where it's like, you're like on, there's like an arm sticking up from the ground and you're one kind of car. Think about it almost like a Tower of Terror car has like, let's say 6 people in it or 8 people. And it's moving on top of this arm. And so basically it's like kind of throwing you forward and then it would like throw you all the way back and then turn you and throw you forward and throw you all the way back. And you're kind of just seeing all these different scary scenes. It's like a mummy and then a Dracula and then, but it's like, I don't remember. I don't even think it was that many screens. I think it was more like a real mummy and then a real, I don't know. For me, I was like, okay, how many times were we going to get tossed back and thrown forward and tossed back and thrown forward? And if you love a villain and a mummy, like fine, but there wasn't much to it other than them just trying to like put scary images in front of your face. I don't know if I'm doing it justice. You could watch a POV online, but I was kind of like, what was that? But a lot of people love it. Then the little kids had left and we were like, Universal's fun. It's kind of like an adult playground. And so all the adults, and we still had my 2 big kids, my 13-year-old and my 10-year-old with us, were like, let's get an adult beverage. So there's a cool tavern in Dark Universe called the Burning Blade Tavern. And it looks like you're going into like under like an old blade is on top. And it just looks like an old cavernous tavern, kind of spooky. Well, the blade on top is called Burning Blade because it catches on fire every 20 minutes and like makes a big scene. Somehow we didn't catch it we weren't outside to see it catch on fire. We probably could have waited around, but we missed that. But the tavern was really cool. They have wine, beer, mixed drinks, and then a fun mocktail for kids that comes in a potion bottle beaker. It's green. It's kind of got like a cloudy glitter going on in it. And the guy told us, it's basically kind of tastes like a Baja Blast from Taco Bell, which my kids love a Baja Blast. So they were pumped. So my two big kids got one of the potion drinks, and then the rest of us got like an actual drink and sat down in this kind of cool, creepy bar and just kind of decompressed for a second, which was really nice. And then the last thing we did is, well, not the last thing, but we went on Curse of the Werewolf, which is a coaster. This one was so funny because a lot of people think it's kind of boring, but the coaster cars spin while like they're able to spin. It's not like they're electronically spinning. They're just able to spin while you're going on the coaster. Well, you sit back to back, 2 and 2, so 4 in a car, and you're back to back. My husband and my brother-in-law, John, so Joe and John, were on a car with 2 other adults, and we were in the back car. It was me and my dad, and to our back was my 2 kids, my 2 oldest kids. And I truly believe this was a weight issue that we weren't aware of. Try not to make it where like one side are the heavier 2 people and one side are the lighter 2 people, because when I tell you we spun on this coaster as fast as you can possibly imagine the entire time. Again, I like reached over to my dad laughing my head off. Like, are you alive? We couldn't see straight. We were like, oh my gosh, my mom and sister would have barfed halfway through that ride. And my husband, Joe, and my brother-in-law, John, were like, we were not spinning like that. We were kind of generally spinning. He was like, we were watching you guys spin off into outer space. They were like, you had an entirely different ride from us. So I'm not sure what's going on with that coaster, but you could spin so fast that you feel like your head's going to fly off your body, or you could barely spin at all. So maybe that's the curse of the werewolf. Maybe that's the point of the ride. You don't really know. But I feel like maybe it was because we had like the weight issue where my dad and I were just like propelling this thing around. Again, we were dying laughing like, what just happened? So now it was the end of the night. It was kind of time to like probably head back to the house. But my big kids and my husband, Joe, and my brother-in-law, John, wanted to do Stardust Racers one more time and do the different track, since there are 2 tracks. And we'd been watching the wait time in the app, and we all decided if it went down to like 35 or 40 minutes, they were going to stand in the standby line. And it did. It went down to like 30, 35 minutes. This was probably 7 p.m. or something. So they went off to do that again. My dad and I decided we loved it. It was fun. We laughed our heads off about it, but we did not need to do it again. And so we decided to go to the top of the luxury hotel in Epic Universe. So there are 3 hotels in Epic Universe, 2 like more budget-friendly hotels, Terra Luna and something else. And then there's a premium hotel called the Helios Grand, and it's grand. Like it overlooks the park, it overlooks the fountain show, it has a big gold dome on the top. It is a nice, pretty hotel. We walked into the lobby and there was a massive, gorgeous Christmas tree. And we had heard that there was a really pretty rooftop bar. And so we were like, we'll pass on Stardust and check out this rooftop bar. So we went up to the rooftop bar. It is, again, celestial. It's a domed ceiling with all these like constellations on the top. And then the outside of it is actually outdoors with like plexiglass windows, but it's open air on the top, and you're overlooking the gorgeous park with like all the lights and all the rides going. Now, those were reservation only tables, so you had to kind of like make a reservation, sit down, have a server. So we just took some videos out there and checked it out. Very cool outdoor terrace. But then we just sat at the bar because we knew we only had like 40 minutes while the other crew went on Stardust and came back. So by the time we ordered a drink, had a little chit chat, he asked me how the podcast is going. We were able to catch up about all the things. Then our crew called. They were done with Stardust. It was just as good the second time around. They loved it. And it was time for us all to go home. We truly had an epic day at Epic Universe. That night for dinner, there is something called Evermore to your door, which is basically like a delivery service. You can order delivery from any of the like restaurants or walk-up windows or whatnot. So you call this number, which you can find online, Evermore to your door. We just got pizzas and salads delivered. It was perfect. We got like big pizzas. They even have a gluten-free pizza if you need that, Caesar salads, and called it all in, and they brought it to our door, and we were able to spread out at that huge kitchen table and eat pizza. And then we played games. My mom brought a bunch of family games up from her Florida house. We love this game called Flip 7. I'm going to put it in the show notes. It's a card game. It is so fun for anyone over the age of, honestly, 8. The little girls played a little bit too. So 8 plus. It's a card game, a little bit of math. So fun though. So if you need a new family game, check out Flip 7. We played that almost every single night. And then we went to bed to gear up for our next day, which was conquering both Universal parks.
Hear that? That's your gut. Now, would you really trust that same gut to make important decisions for your business? Well, you shouldn't. That's what SurveyMonkey is for. SurveyMonkey can help give you insight from real people that you need to make those big decisions with confidence. And AI from SurveyMonkey makes that faster and easier than ever before. It allows you to build a survey in seconds with just a simple prompt. You can even do it right from your phone. Advanced analysis tools are also powered by AI and are there when the responses pour in to help you dig deep, find patterns, and surface trends quickly. So give SurveyMonkey a try and give your gut a break. Shh. Try it for yourself at surveymonkey.com/human-AI.
Okay, so Tuesday we wake up and we are going to do both Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure, which are side by side in Orlando, but you do need like a park hopper pass or tickets to both parks to access both of them, because you can buy a single park ticket just to one of them or the other. So we had like a park hopper ticket that allowed us to go to both. We were going to do it all in one day. Yes, we had express passes, which was so clutch. We tried to leave a little bit earlier today so that we weren't there all day, but didn't matter. We opened this park and we closed this park. So again, we ate breakfast at the house, ordered some Uber XLs, got over to the parks, and we decided to start in Islands of Adventure. This is because it had a lot of the big coasters. My big kids were ready to conquer big coasters. They got their taste on Stardust Racers, and they were ready to do some big, fun stuff. It also has Seuss Land, Dr. Seuss Land. I think it's called Seuss Landing, which is so adorable and bright. And there's like what are they called in Dr. Seuss? I can't even remember, but like Hufflepuff trees. Hufflepuff is Harry Potter. Anyways, it's all getting confused, but they've got like the big, bright, colorful, puffy trees. There's so much for little kids to do there. So we were like, we are going to like go hard in Islands of Adventure and then finish off our day in Universal Studios, which has a little bit more of those like movie themed rides and experiences. So we get into Islands of Adventure and we go straight back to Hogsmeade, which is the adorable Wizard Village. It is so pretty at Christmas time. It has cobblestone homes with these curvy chimneys and smoke coming out of the chimneys. All the roofs are covered in snow. They have garland draped everywhere for Christmas. And if you look closely around the windows and the garland, you think they're gold ornaments all over, but it's actually Quidditch balls, which Quidditch is the sport that they play in Harry Potter, and it is a very specific shape of a ball. It's actually like a bird that can fly, like a bird ball. I don't know how to explain it, but if you look, all the ornaments were actually Quidditch balls, which was so cool. One of my kids noticed that. We wanted to go straight back to Hogsmeade, Wizarding World of Harry Potter in Islands of Adventure, because it has the best ride in all of these two parks people consider to be Hagrid's motorbike, which is a Harry Potter themed ride. And we missed it last time we were in, because last time we were in, we also had an express pass, but it wasn't available. there wasn't an express pass for this ride. Now they do offer an express lane for Hagrid's motorbike. So we all did this. Even, I think my mom and sister did. I can't remember now. Anyways, it is a long, fun coaster with those shoot-off moments where it blasts you off. You feel like you're riding a motorcycle. So one person sits on the motorcycle and another person sits in the sidecar. You're like flying around with Hagrid. And there's a lot of like cool, big animatronic moments with like Hagrid, he's like a giant in Harry Potter, and some of his animals. And it's fun, fast. You're twirling all around over water, through tunnels. It's worth all the hype. I think at the end of the trip, my dad said that was his favorite ride of the entire trip. So rushing back to Hagrid's motorbike is worth it because the line will just build throughout the day. And it is super fun and well worth the wait if you need to wait in line for it. Today, the other 8-year-old got a wand here. So there's definitely the wand shop you can hit up. There's also those wand shows you can go to, which I think they've changed. I think a wand used to fly across the room and it was really cool, and that has stopped. So there's still like a little wand show you can go to where like one kid is selected, the wand selects a kid, but you don't get the wand, which I think is super lame. Like if you're going to stand in line and go to a wand show and a wand selects one child out of the whole show, they should get a flipping wand. But no, you have the opportunity to buy the wand. I'm like, come on, Universal. But so we definitely did more of the windows here because now we had 3 wands. We had 2 for the 8-year-old girls. They each had one. And then the little 4-year-old had the light up wand. So lots of wands and windows. We all got a butterbeer, which was really fun. They've got the butterbeer trucks. Those taste like cream soda. They're actually pretty good. They've got like almost like a foamy marshmallow flavoring on the top and then the cream soda flavor in the drink. You can get them regular, which is just cold style, or frozen slushy style. And different people got them both ways. We loved them both ways. Some of the younger kids liked it slushy style, and then some of the older kids and adults liked it the regular way. So that was fun and iconic. Got a picture of our butterbeers. Then we all went on the kid-friendly coaster there called Flight of the Hippogriff. All my kids have done this when they were little, and it was fun to bring the 4-year-old on it. It is just a super simple, almost like fair-style coaster where it's fast, it's fun, it's quick. Some of those kid-friendly coasters like that, I wish they would just run it twice because it's like you wait in line and you get on the ride and then it's over in like 30 seconds. But it was still fun for the whole group to do that together. Then some people went on Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, which is a super fun, big Harry Potter ride where you feel like you're flying, you feel like you're playing Quidditch, you feel like you're on the broom, and you're trying to defeat I don't even remember what they're all called, but the bad guys and the what are they called? Death Eaters? Anyways, that's a fun ride. The 8-year-olds did it. It's, it's fun, it's intense, but it's manageable for like most of a group. And at this point, the group split up. So we said farewell to Hogsmeade Harry Potter World for now. And the non-thrill seekers went over to Seussland. It was so cute. It's Christmas time. There are Who's from Whoville everywhere with like the full prosthetic nose. They look straight from the movie. They are singing and dancing and hosting dance parties. There's so many cute kid-friendly rides, just like ride after ride of like Cat in the Hat and One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. And if you've got little kids, that's where you need to be. They also have a full-blown Grinch stage show, which we didn't make time for this time, but we did last time we were there. And it was so entertaining and so fun. Definitely worth standing in line for that. The thrill seekers went over to the big coasters. My kids were ready. They were chomping at the bit. They'd never done these huge coasters in Universal. So first we did Velocicoaster, which is a Jurassic Park themed coaster. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. It just had like a really clear, great storyline. I like clear theming. It was a Jurassic Park ride. There's some screens with like some movies playing as you're standing in line, explaining that they have these 4 velociraptors and, oops, they get out. And so once you get on the coaster, you're being chased by 4 velociraptors. Super simple theming and fun. And this coaster blasts you off. You are flying. You go upside down for kind of a while. You're going over water, twists and turns. It's long. It's fun. Loved it. But at this point, my head was starting to be like, okay, Kelsey, like my brain was being rattled in my 40-year-old skull and I was feeling it. Like everybody else was like, we're fine. And I was a little like, I might need to find some ibuprofen here in a minute, but had fun on Velocicoaster. Then we were off to Hulk, which is a big green coaster. Again, super fun. Great coaster, loved it. But at that point, I was like, I legitimately need ibuprofen. So my husband and 2 big kids went off to ride 2 more rides. There's like a Looney Tune land that has this water coaster that my kids love called Do Right's Ripsaw Falls. You're in like a coaster cart and you're also going on water. So you get wet, but they think it's so fun. It is kind of cool, like a water roller coaster. And the Jurassic Park River Ride, which I personally love that ride because it's very well themed. You're on a river boat. It feels like you're in the movie. It feels like, oops, you go the wrong way. And it's like, wrong way. You're going into like the dinosaur world. And then there is actually a drop and a T-Rex roars at you. It's a fun ride, like kind of thrilling. But I was like, I need ibuprofen. So they went off and did those 2 rides. And I was like asking at all the gift shops where to get ibuprofen. And they told me about this magical medical vending machine. So if you need any medicine in Universal, like if you like actually go to a medical, there's medical tents at all these places. They'll give it to you for free, I think. But I didn't know where those were. And just around the corner was this vending machine that legitimately had every medication you could imagine, like Dramamine. There was ibuprofen, Advil, Tylenol. And so I was like, credit card, swipe, give me my ibuprofen. And I felt much better after I downed my ibuprofen and my brain could get back to normal. So the coasters were fun, but I was kind of feeling it in my 40-year-old body. Next, we all met up for a late lunch at a place in Universal Islands of Adventure called Mythos, Mythos. There's a huge sign at the top of it that says rated #1 theme park restaurant for like 10 years in a row or something. And we were like, okay. Now you do have to make a reservation. And by the time we walked in earlier in the morning, they said all they had was 2:30, which was fine because we kind of, got a later start. We got some snacks. We had butterbeer. We got popcorn every day at all these parks. So we met up for lunch there. This place was beautiful. It is like fancy and cavernous. It almost feels like a little bit like you're under the sea, but like with some Greek gods mixed in and some caves. Very cool. They had a Mediterranean menu. We were seated in like big booths. The kids sat by themselves, which was kind of awesome. We got Mediterranean hummus plates with pita and baba ganoush. We got real drinks, the adults in like glass, like we got real glasses of wine and real pints of beer in glass, which just feels kind of nice to sit down in the afternoon. They had pad thai, they had a lamb burger, they had couscous bowls, salmon, salads. The food was fabulous. And we learned one thing on this trip with this big group. If we could sit for a long meal, we all came back to life. I know sometimes on theme park trips, you don't want to waste too much time sitting and eating, but we like needed that. We needed to stop moving, rest everybody's legs, get like real food in us, kind of decompress. And if we did that for like 45 minutes to an hour, we were ready to tackle the rest of the day. So loved Mythos. After lunch, we made our way back to Hogsmeade, the Wizard Village, to ride the Hogwarts Express train over to the other park, Universal Studios Florida. So this train takes you between the 2 parks. It's the best way to get between the 2 parks because it's themed. It's basically a ride and an attraction in and of itself, but it also gets you from point A to point B. Also, you do have to make sure that you have that park hopper pass that gets you into both parks to be able to ride this. But this was kind of funny. The train cars really close and you feel like you're in an old school train in London. And the kids all got in their own car and the adults all got in ours and the doors closed. And my sister was like, is nobody with the kids? And I was like, they'll be fine. I have a 13-year-old. But like she was a little worried about her 4-year-old being on this ride like alone. But it was so funny. We like had an adult train ride and we couldn't like open the door because we were like in the moving train. And there's all this, the windows are like screens. And so it looks like you're actually going from Hogsmeade to London, and there's chatter, like you hear Harry Potter and Hermione like talking, and it's just a really cute experience. When you get off the train, it looks like you're at King's Cross Station in London. Of course, you get off on the platform 9 3/4. If you know, you know. We took pictures on it. And we exited the King's Cross train station, and it looks like you are in London. The first thing you see is a big red phone booth, just like you're in London, and you can actually go in it. And inside on the dial, it says dial, and it says a number. And if you dial that number, there's like a magical message that you can hear in the phone. So of course, every single kid wanted to do it. And it was a rotary phone, and they like didn't know how to do it. We had to teach them. We kept having to teach each kid, and they'd mess it up. And we're like, no, you have to put your finger in and go all the way around and let it dial all the way back. And so it took way too long to get every kid to listen to this message, but you can pop into that red phone booth and listen to a fun message. So we went over to Diagon Alley, which is so cool. It looks like the secret alley in London from the movies and the books where, you know, you can buy wands, and there's the Weasley brothers, like toy shop and chocolate frogs. And there's a huge dragon on top of Gringotts Bank, which spits fire every 10 minutes. Like, it's a really, really cool spot. So now that we had all the wands, we did more magic spells in the windows. We got some more butterbeer. Some people rode Escape from Gringotts, which is a fun, really cool ride that feels like you're going down into the depths of the Gringotts Bank from Harry Potter. And when you walk into the ride, it looks like the Gringotts Bank. It's so cool. Like crystal chandeliers, and super awesome ride. So some people did that. And then my parents went back. They were like, we're done for now, which is great because we had the house to go back to. They could go chill. They could take a nap. They could, you know, relax back at Evermore. Then my sister and I took the 3 little girls. We were just going to go experience the other side of Universal Studios Florida. So we were going to go see Minion Land and everything that was happening over there. And we stumbled upon their Christmas parade, which we weren't even expecting. We got a little seat on a curb in front of Starbucks, and they had a legitimate Macy's style parade with the big balloons and the balloon handlers and people on stilts and professional dancers and singers and minions and a huge Minion Christmas tree. And at the end, Santa comes on this massive sleigh, and he actually looked at both our girls. The littlest was sleeping at this point in a stroller, but our 2 8-year-old cousins, and he did the heart hand sign and looked through it with his one eye. I have a video of it on my Instagram. And they were like, oh my gosh, Santa. So it was just one of those like magical moments that happens on these park days where you kind of stumble across something that you weren't expecting. And we just chilled there for 45 minutes to an hour and took in this super fun Christmas parade. And the 8-year-old girls had the time of their lives. Then we just kept going. You would have thought we might be ready to go home at this point, but we just kind of kept the party going. We walked over to kind of the New York City area of Universal Studios, Florida, and my sister strolled her 4-year-old in the stroller who was sleeping through what looks like Rockefeller Center. You've got the Rockefeller Christmas tree, and it looks like you're in New York City. And some of us went on the Jimmy Fallon ride, which I actually think is a really fun ride. When you go in, you look like you're going to work at 30 Rock. Like, it really kind of feels like you're in an office building. It's so weird. It feels like you're heading up, you walk up these stairs and it looks like you're in an office building. And then you enter and they give you a ticket and you just kind of go hang out in what would look like an office waiting room, like a big, nice New York City office waiting room. And when they call your ticket color, like we had purple, I think, you go into the show. It's a screen and you are just kind of in like one big moving car, almost like IMAX style. But it's fun. It's fun and funny, and Jimmy Fallon's funny. And at one point you like shoot off to the moon, and the Roots are playing. They're like the first band to play on the moon. And then you like take a roller coaster all the way back down to New York City. Anyways, it's random, but I was like, that's better than I remember. So I do like the Jimmy Fallon ride. And at this time, the 4-year-old finally woke up and she was like ready to go. More rides, more rides. She'd napped for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. So we were all like, let's go on some Minions rides. So there's Minion Mayhem, which is one of those you get a gun and you're trying to shoot and get points. I never understand those games. I just like shoot all over the place. And I'm like, okay, I got 120,000 points, whatever. But she loved it and thought it was fun. Then we stumbled upon the Wicked experience, which is a new experience in the front of the Universal Studios Florida park. It's basically a massive gift shop, but there's also a lot of movie memorabilia. Like there's the broom that Elphaba used. There is lots of costumes, and you can tell they're the real costumes because there'll be like jewels missing from the shoes because and the shoes are all scuffed up. Like you can tell they wore them like a lot in filming. Lots of costumes. The popular dorm room with the pink bedding and all the luggage trunks, they've recreated that. There's a big Glinda bubble that you can stand in and kind of take a picture in. It's worth going in there. And every once in a while, you do have the chance to meet Glinda and Elphaba. Of course, it's not Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, but it's they'll have characters that you can meet, but there's no schedule. You never know when they're going to be there. And if they are, there's just 2 attendants standing, waiting for them to come out. So we didn't get lucky enough to meet them, but that is an opportunity that might happen if you stop in the Wicked Experience. And then finally, we walked down Hollywood Boulevard, which is so beautiful. The palm trees are so tall and they were wrapped in Christmas lights. There were Christmas lights everywhere. It just looked like magical. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. 'Tis the season. I was just soaking it all in. And we made our way back to DreamWorks Land, which is the newest land. It's for kids. It's for little kids, but there's a Troller coaster back there, a Trolls Poppy-themed roller coaster. It looks like one of those Caterpillar roller coasters at a state fair where it's just a super simple one, but it's like, why not? The 4-year-old napped for 2 hours. Let's go. So we all rode the Troller coaster. And then back there is iconic E.T. And we thought, what better way to end a Universal Studios park day than with the E.T. ride, which I actually kind of loved. I can't remember if I've done it before or not, but it's kind of like the Peter Pan ride where you are literally suspended by a track from the ceiling and it feels like you're on a bike and you're like going through the woods and you are, biking your little alien. It's really cute. I'm just saying, if you haven't done it, it's worth doing. We loved ending our night with E.T. So wowzers, it was a full day. My parents were like, are you guys ever coming home? And my dad was kind of like, I love that you guys are like milking these express passes for all they're worth. We're like, we will use it on every single ride that it's available to us. We Ubered back to the house. We used Evermore to your door again and got burgers and onion rings this time, which was great. Played another few rounds of Flip 7, got all the kids to bed. On some of these nights, some of the adults would take a dip in the pool just to kind of rinse off a park day, which was nice. And then we went to bed because we had to gear up for another park day. Now, normally we would have wanted our off day to be kind of in between we had 4 park days, 2 and 2. But with these parties at Disney World, you have to plan it perfectly because they're not every night. So we were going to bed Tuesday night knowing we were waking up Wednesday for a full Magic Kingdom day and a Mickey's Christmas party. So we were like just getting started. Oh my gosh. We had so much fun. Loved kicking off the trip with Universal. And on part 2, come back next week for all the Disney magic, for what Thanksgiving at Evermore Resort was like. So many more details to come. If you have any specific questions about any of the Universal stuff, feel free to DM me on Instagram, Kelsey_Graves over there. And thanks for listening, and come back next week for part 2 of this epic Thanksgiving adventure. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Trip Tales. Don't forget to subscribe or follow the show, leave a review, or buy me a coffee. And if you do, you can picture me doing an actual happy dance. Also, if you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, send an email to Kelsey@triptalespodcast.com and we'll get you on the schedule. I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.
Take your holiday green bean casserole from bland to brilliant with Hatfield Classic Cut Bacon. Start with your traditional casserole recipe. Then add a generous layer of crispy chopped Hatfield bacon on top. The rich, smoky flavor takes this holiday classic from side dish to showstopper. Your guests will savor the upgrade and return for seconds and even thirds. More holiday recipe inspiration awaits at simplyhatfield.com. Hatfield, better care, better pork, better holidays.